Every once in a while, we get to sit down with somebody who represents exactly what this podcast is about. Small town roots, big dreams, and the kind of character that doesn't fade when the lights get brighter. This week's episode features Seth Lonsway. He isn't just a name people know in Celina. He's a kid who grew up right here in Mercer County, who worked, fought, and kept going long after most of us probably would have stopped. He's a pitcher in the San Francisco Giants organization now, but this conversation goes way beyond baseball. It's about what happens when you leave home, face loss, grow up, and figure out how to carry your town with you even when you're hundreds of miles away. So grab a drink, settle in. This one's special. It's proud, it's real, and it's everything Two Dads stand for. We hope you enjoy. Hello, and welcome to the Two Dads Podcast, episode number 39. To my left, Slick Willie and Seth Lonsway. Slick Willie, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you? But episode 39, I do this every week. We try to figure out a number. 39 is an easy one for me. Dave Parker.
That's a weird one to come up with. Seth Lonsway, you got one?
I got nothing.
Dude, I got nothing too.
That's tough.
39 episodes in, though, Bill. That's a pretty good number. We're getting up there.
Yeah, we're on the cusp of a year. We're not there yet. We're a few months out from a year, but we got to figure that out. We got to have a big number 52.
Yeah, it's so funny. I can't even believe we've made it this far. I appreciate that. I feel like we say that every week. But this time, it's interesting because we now have video on our Spotify. 39 episodes in, we finally got video. I talked to Jay Klaus of Creator Science. He's a good friend of the community. He's from Celina. He does a really good podcast. If you haven't listened, check it out. But he says to me, he's like, I showed him some analytics. We're 39 episodes in, close to a year, like you said. And in episode 1, you're sort of just flying by the seat of your pants, trying to figure out what to talk about, right? And now later in life, in episode 39, you're sort of like, oh, maybe we can refine this, right? Like maybe we can look at the data. Well, I have no idea what the data is. So one of the things he told me is he's like, hey, you got your videos on Spotify as well? They're starting to really push that. So no, we didn't. But now we do. So you can watch this one right now, Bill Ray, with a little bit of video in it.
See, someone told me one time, they're like, you don't have your videos on Spotify like Joe Rogan does. And I'm like, well, I'm not Joe Rogan. So I think that's like I thought it was an unlock. I really did. Like you had to have so many subscribers, so many hours before you unlock the right to post on Spotify.
I should have just told everybody that. Yeah, actually,
we
just
finally unlocked it. That's what we did.
They're putting you in the same conversation as Joe Rogan, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true.
Put that out there.
We were doing analytics. I joke, but like as we started the beginning of this podcast, we're looking at how things kind of run. How did we've gone through so many problems here. Figuring out the camera's not working, new mic breaking, all these little things. If it could go wrong, it did. And now we're sort of in a refinement period. I like that because now we can sort of hone in on the content, hone in what we want to do. We used to do operational updates.
Yeah.
Now we're really looking at this data, and it's funny that you said Joe Rogan because I was trying to compare our data to Joe Rogan's. Like, we're nowhere close to it, but we're doing well, right? But it was just a funny benchmark that I'm like, let's just benchmark Andre the Giant equivalent in the podcast realm.
See, like I feel like I've watched a lot of Joe's stuff. It's really good, right? His brain is crazy, and he's one that'll go out there on a limb and say some stuff that might be a little edgy because he just doesn't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't care if you listen or not. Truthfully, I don't think.
Have you ever went back and listened to his early episodes?
No, I haven't.
Go back to some of his say 1 through episode 20 maybe, and just why I don't know why he brought up somebody's name. He said he interviewed him before, so I searched their name. It was episode 12 or something, something crazy random like that. And his interviewing skills and conversation skills was way different, not as good.
That's so funny you say that because again, I'm batshit crazy, to be honest with you. I'm very every percent
it's not supposed to be perfect from the start.
Well, that's what a lot of guys like Bill, great person in my corner. I've got a lot of friends that say the same thing. I'll ask them feedback on the episode. We get a lot of good feedback from people, but one of the things is I'm always like, did you like it? And they're like, yeah, well, I didn't like this part perfectly, but you're in refinement. We like listening as an audience member to see you guys try new things every week, to do new sound effects, new game shows. So it's nice that you said that, but appreciate you being back home. Where are you at right now that you're coming so far back to home? Because I know you're in AAA ball.
Yeah. Spending the off season in Columbus. We're just kind of, the season kind of takes you all over the place. Mm-hmm. And so just kind of finding a home base for a few months. So basically 4 months is how much time I get kind of off.
How long are you back in Celina?
I come and go on the weekends. I'll come back and deer hunt and stuff like that. Just kind of randomly. I got a doe last week. Right. I was hunting over in Urbana, and over that way. Got a family friend that is letting us hunt over there, but nothing this past weekend. Seeing stuff, just getting something within range to get a shot off. So.
When you come back to Celina, is there any spots that you always have to stop at? Like, is there any local? Where do you eat when you come back to Celina? Because we're a food and bev, we're in that industry. Where do you go when you come home? Is there any must go tos?
So the new place there on the corner, the Smash Burger place.
Oh
in Celina, that's pretty good.
City or whatever that is.
Yeah. And then CBY, like get a kaleidoscope.
Shout out to CBY, Celina's best yogurt. For those wondering that one.
I love their kaleidoscopes. Like it's like a Blizzard, right? It's like a Dairy Queen Blizzard, and that's kind of my.
I used to hit up CBY pretty often. Have you been there before, Bill?
I've never been there.
Next to the Subway?
I know right
it's
where
so
it's
good.
I know right where it's at. That was not on my bingo card. It was CBY. But hey, we talk about it all the time. Someone mentioned it on my comment or on my post for Facebook or whatever. Like how businesses are shutting down in Celina, it seems like, and how you need to support local and stuff like that. So good spotlight for CBY. So I would say go to CBY over Dairy Queen.
Speaking of that though, you made the one hot take last week.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen the clips, it's got like 14,000 views in this little area. And Bill was going off about the Wawa coming to town.
I just heard about that.
Right next to the human trafficking Chinese restaurant that we're getting rid of. Yeah.
Ugh.
We had some split opinions, and I like that though. I think, Bill, your point was, here's a hot take. Here's what I think. Take it or leave it. And a lot of people, it was like friendly discourse. I really think more of that is needed versus just like highly opinionated Facebook pages.
Yeah, I think it's important because, really, the guy commented on there on Facebook, right? And he was a little antagonistic, maybe, saying where my tax dollars go or wherever. Sure. And he has a fair point. But like I said, that Wawa is not publicly funded. Yeah. There's no tax credit. There's nothing it's just Wawa, an incorporation that wants to put it in town. And then the way the clip got cut, if you'd listen to the whole 2 minutes, it got clipped to be, it was a really good job by our editor, Josh, to clip it to get
rage bait.
Yeah, to get views. It was very good. But I clarified, I said, for context, I'm just saying I don't like people complaining on Facebook all the time, but don't do anything for the community.
Yeah.
Like even down to
That's a good point.
Go pick up trash.
That's a good
go
point.
volunteer, go coach little leagues. The easiest stuff you can do. Just do something for the community of Celina.
I love that. Speaking of community, I didn't get your pick. So when you come into town, you go to CBY, which I love. I think that's great. I was not the answer on my bingo card. Smash Burger Place is great. They've been getting better, 1% better every day. Bill, when you're in town or you come into Celina, he lives outside of town. Is there a spot you have to stop in town to eat?
So when I had my buddies up all the time, we used to go to C-Town religiously. We had to go get there. They had one of the best pizza burgers. It was actually just 2 small pizzas with like a burger in between. Okay. So that was the fat guy picking me. But outside of that, I know it's a paid sponsorship. Shout out Celina Moose 1473.
Shout out.
I love the moose wings. I don't know what they do. It's just there's like hot sauce infused into the breading. Like it's just very good.
And you can gamble there.
And I can gamble there.
Yeah.
And I can drink there excessively for very cheap. There's a lot going on there. But actually, a newer restaurant I'll give a little shout out. I like Shandy's. Yeah. Shandy's has pretty good food.
I haven't been to 202. I need to get over there. Jacob does a great job. We want to actually have him on the podcast. And maybe people who are listening to this can push Jacob because he's always like, to be fair, he is up to his eyeballs with a second restaurant and trying to get everything going in his life. But I like the Anchor a lot in town. And then if I'm going to like recommendation, if I'm not going to recommend Two Dads, I'm going to go to the wine store. I don't know. There's just something nostalgic, kind of like your CBY. Yeah, that was
that's my parents.
We would go to the pool, and then you get your burritos or you get your tacos.
Yeah.
A big pig. It's just a lot going on. And then I got to give a shout out to Logan. My kids love the Willow. We went to the Willow at night. Like I came home from a wedding. I was not drinking, but I went there.
Why?
I had to drive home.
Oh, fair.
But my son was still awake, and it was super late. And I went to say goodnight, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go to the Willow. Do you want to go? And it was because of Jake Savicki. If you listen to the episode, he put that video out there, and he said, it was raining outside. My 7-year-old was like wanting to do some stuff, and she's like, do you want to throw? And he can't because it was raining. And then finally he goes, do you just want to go throw? And she's like, but it's raining. And he said that her eyes lit up because he did something that was so off the wall and ordinary that it touched the heart of a 7-year-old. Same thing happened with Mac. I took that and I used it as cannon fodder. I said, do you want to go to the Willow? And he's like, in the middle of the night? And I was like, yeah, they're open. Dude, jazzed. And
That's hilarious.
Shout out to Logan Smith though. He's getting married December 7th, but he had his bachelor party. I went on it this weekend. It was I never felt like more of like the old man in the room. I was on a party bus, dude. Kids were puking in buckets, just doing shots.
Oh my God.
Shooting each other bare chested with like point blank paintballs. Now I'm not saying I wasn't a kid back in the day, but I will say there's a passing of the torch a little bit. I was kind of like, I called Tasha at our first bar. I had to go because there were people over, but I called her at the first bar. I was like, you got to get me out of here. So she came and picked me up at B&R's or something. Like, it's like 25 minutes outside of town. I cannot think of the bar's name. I never.
E&R's.
E&R's. She was like, where are you?
Yeah,
I'm like,
you're
just
out in the-
follow my location.
You're in the boonies. They have great gizzards, though.
So speaking of food
Yeah.
and gizzards, what's the difference like when you moved to like Columbus for the first time? We'll get into your college career, but like difference in food.
Yeah.
Do you like the food in the big cities now too? Or
Wow.
like the
I mean,
comfort
there's
food?
there's so much variety. Like you have not just like a couple pizza places, you have like 20 pizza places, you have 10 burger spots, you have, like so many options just for one thing. You have 10 Italian places, whatever it is. The food is awesome. Like I'll say it probably multiple times, but like there's something for everybody, when it comes to like in Columbus. And, I'm not much of like a city person in general. Like I enjoy kind of a small town living. But yeah, there's something for everybody. It's hard to find a place that, you don't like, you know what I mean? Like there's just so many options. So
When you come home though, do people treat you like the same old Seth?
I mean, yeah, like the people that I'm close with and around like pretty consistently. It's like, my good buddies, our group of friends. We're all just kind of like the same dudes who, hang out and stuff. And it's funny, like younger kids, maybe like under the age of like 12, 13, and they don't get to like see me too often. So it's like they just probably hear my name or see whatever, pictures, video, whatever it is. And so it's kind of funny. They have like this kind of, I don't know, just like a perspective of, not seeing me too often. So maybe they kind of get a little excited and I think it's funny, but I don't really think of myself as like this, look at me, superstar, like kind of guy, so.
What's that like though for like flip your life around, right? We were all 12-year-old baseball kids, right? So at that time we had Craig Stallman on the podcast. So Craig was probably in the MLB when you were probably around that age. Obviously like Chad Billingsley, guys like that in Defiance.
Yeah.
Because I remember what it was like just seeing Billingsley for like the first time, and I was like, dude, this is cool as shit. Like that guy plays in the pros, and like I'm not even from his hometown.
Yeah.
So like, what's that if you flip it around maybe for like a 12-year-old self? Like how kind of cool is that kind of being a role model for somebody? Because you made it out, you did it. Like
Yeah. It's crazy to think about, and I try to keep that perspective when I am, having a conversation with a younger kid, or I'm at a game and a young kid asks for an autograph, and just all those like little interactions that you don't really, read too much into. But then like I have that flashback moment of like, oh yeah, I was that kid, going to like camps and going to these different things. Seeing these guys and kind of idolizing them and wanting to be like them. And so, having that perspective, like wherever I'm at, when it comes to baseball is, something that like I always try to keep in the back of my mind for sure. Cause it's not that, like I said, not that long ago, I was that kid,
What's the weirdest thing you've been asked to autograph? Or the coolest, maybe. Coolest or weirdest? Anything weird out there?
Boobs?
No, nothing crazy.
No Happy Gilmore?
No, nothing too crazy.
Mr. Gilmore, I'm your caddy.
It's a lot of it's just a lot of baseball cards, a lot of baseballs, pictures, things like that. I've had some really cool interactions. I've had some really one that comes to mind, it wasn't the lady didn't want an autograph. She gave me a rock that it was for her son who passed away.
Oh, wow.
And she wanted to she's doing this thing, kind of had like a Facebook group. I think it's called Adventures with Jeremiah or something, I'm pretty sure. And she gives these like painted rocks with his name wherever. And it's kind of this thing, like you take it and, leave it somewhere. It's just like, it's a way to kind of like let him see the world, see the country, see different places. You know, I forget how old he was when he passed away, but so like that was like, this lady was like very emotional, you know, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, is there like, maybe there's a reason why, like, I happened to be, I was walking by myself down the foul line, and she like stopped me, and I was like, I wonder why me, you know? And it was just kind of a crazy moment. But it was cool. Like, it was just, I could tell, you know, she was very emotional and passionate about that. And it really, I don't know. It just kind of hit me.
I love that. I mean, and those doors are going to keep opening, buddy. And for those that are listening around here, that emotional side, though, it's a good lead into what I want to say here. When somebody from Mercer County makes it out, we all feel it. Because in this corner of Ohio, these back roads, these ball fields, these Friday night lights, they don't just build athletes. They build people who understand grit, faith, and community. Today's episode, people remember where they come from because we're speaking with Seth Lonsway, who grew right up here in Celina. The kid every coach wanted, every younger player wanted to be, and every parent hoped their son would turn out like. He played on the same fields we did. He wore the same uniforms, heard his name called from the same bleachers that have raised generations of us. And now he's pitching in the San Francisco Giants organization, one of the biggest franchises in baseball, carrying the pride of Mercer County with him every time he takes the mound. But this episode isn't just about box scores or radar guns. It's about what it means to leave a town that raised you and still carry it wherever you go. It's about growth, it's about loss, and it's about learning who you are when the world around you starts moving faster than the one you left behind. Because when a kid like Seth makes it, it's not just for him, it's for us. This is the Two Dads Podcast with Seth Lonsway. Thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate you coming in. This is really cool. This is really cool to have you, and I just want to remind listeners what's going on in this episode, but more than just baseball. Bill, you're a baseball guy too. One of the questions I wanted to ask as we kick this thing off and kind of get into the round table here, we talk about Mercer County. You talk about that rock. You talk about that emotion. It makes me think of how much grit and faith and stuff in that intro is kind of, it hits home for me. When you hear Mercer County, what words or images come to your mind?
Flat and cornfields. Flat countryside and cornfields.
How do you describe it to people? Like when you go to a big city, though. I'm Seth Lonsway from Mercer County, Ohio.
Yeah, I'm like, picture like Iowa, but just on the northwest side of Ohio, I guess. I don't know, right? Like,
pretty much played at the Field of Dreams growing up, if you can relate to that.
Kevin Costner's there. He's plowing under his corn.
Yeah, but no, like I love that. Like I love that. I love that slow pace. I love that kind of. You know, and it's probably, I love it even more so because I've been to all these different places, all these cities, all this, just craziness that this life brings. But yeah, no, I think describing it to people, I'm just like, a couple bars, a couple churches.
A lot of churches, a lot of bars.
Yeah. A few restaurants here and there. That's
I always say it's just near Lima.
Yeah.
Where's Celina, Ohio?
Yeah.
What's the first one you say, Bill? Do you say Lima?
I say an hour north of Dayton, an hour and a half west of Columbus.
Right.
There you go.
Like I literally jokingly say, do you know where 75's at? Give me the closest city to Lima or Sydney. I know Sydney. Just go 40 miles northwest from Sydney, and we're right around there.
Yep.
Right next to the Indiana border.
100%. Good thing it's gambling is legal in Ohio, so we don't have to drive to Indiana anymore. Right. There's a church outside of Coldwater there that we used to park at and bet, and
that's funny.
God's way of saying you probably shouldn't be doing this, guys. So, but sometimes it hit, so it was good. But for people outside of the Celina area, what's one thing that they don't understand? Maybe some college teammates you might have brought back from Ohio State or something like, because we always do the Buckeye tailgate for cancer and cruise for cancer and stuff. So those Buckeye players come back all the time. They love this area.
Yeah.
So what's something outside of them that they just don't understand about like Celina?
I think it's the community aspect. I think a lot of places that I've been, or at least like guys that I've played with, just that sense they kind of like are. It's kind of funny like hearing that like, yeah, your friends just like help you move like from one house to another. Like it's like you just kind of help each other out.
Who's got a truck?
Yeah, like who's got a truck? Like. Yeah, it's that sense of community and just the people that kind of look after each other, I think that really, that's really kind of what like I keep in mind when I'm kind of describing, Celina and everything like that. So.
We went deep into that. We had the mayor, Hazel, on here probably 10 episodes ago, give or take.
Jeez, I'm getting old.
And he talked about the tornado that went through there most recently. Obviously the Crown one, then the one that hit on like the west side of town by the park.
Like the Wheatland Acres. And yeah.
And it was just kind of cool to hear, like, I didn't grow up in Celina. My son goes to Coldwater, but it's just kind of cool to hear just like, it wasn't just Celina that outreach to that, right? Like everybody in the Tri-County area showed up. And Celina would do the same for Sydney, Ohio, if it happened in Sydney or it happened in Van Wert years before there. So it is really cool. And we talk about it a lot, the community. It's a special place. I mean, that's partially why this podcast is as successful as it is, too.
Do you think it gives you an edge? Honestly, coming from my perspective, I've lived in big cities, too, and I've had the luxury of traveling to larger cities and doing work in L.A. and New York and things like that. I always felt personally that it gave me an edge because I think people, when they go for personal goals, maybe it's as big as the major leagues, maybe it's to start a business, maybe it's to figure out who and what you are in life. I always notice that if you put out good comes back. And I think one of the things that we're sort of saying in a roundabout way is that, like, if you're willing to put that back in, that community, whether you know these people or not, and for the most part, what binds us, I don't know most of these people. I mean, in certain parts you do, but you're still willing to go chip in because that guy's from your community. I think it gave me an edge to always do the right thing, no matter if it was not the best business decision or the best networking solution or the best thing that could have led to the highest caliber of results, but the results always came back in the end. So I always felt for me. Do you feel like it gives you an edge as a teammate or anything like that?
I think two things. I think it, like, you try to be as genuine as possible, right? Like in all the interactions you have. And I think that's, I think that's something that growing up and having that kind of environment with people that I interacted with, I think just carried over into the next kind of stages of life, into college and into pro ball. But the other aspect of it too is just like you care more about the things that you put time and energy into. It's pretty simply put, but like in a way, like being in part of this community, like you're willing to go the extra mile, whether it's for, yourself or for someone else, putting that time and energy into things, and not half-assing things. I think that's something that carrying it over into, like I said, the next level and with people I meet, I think that definitely is, had some sort of impact for me.
It sounds like it made you a stronger player. I don't know much about baseball though. Like, does having a good attitude like that get you further in the league? I don't know if that's like an egregious or dumb question. I mean, obviously skill's going to get you there. If you're Shohei Ohtani, you're Shohei Ohtani. But he's a nice guy too. So like someone who watched the World Series, I'm like, I like that guy a lot.
Yeah.
Because he's both nice guy and does well, and he likes apparently maybe to gamble, Bill, so you might like him too. But
that's a whole nother
lost
rabbit
in translation.
hole.
Yeah, we can't go.
That's another conversation.
But as someone who's trying to make it in the business of baseball, does being a nice guy get you further too? Like, or being a community centric or a thoughtful person get you further?
I think there's like a joke. It's like the baseball gods, like the baseball gods are watching.
I'm
like
sure Craig talked about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that goes more so along the lines of like playing the game the right way, right? Like not disrespecting the game. But yeah, I think it's when you're on the field, like you can kind of be who you need to be to do your job well, right? Outside the lines, it's, at least for me, it's like kind of let people have their space, how they need to do their job, right? Like you wouldn't go to someone's cubicle at a 9 to 5 and if they're their coworker, obviously you probably help each other out and stuff like that. But like, if they're struggling with something, you don't just want to go over there and just start telling them like, hey, you need to do this, 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 and this. Like, and in baseball, they're probably 9 times out of 10 be like, yeah, I'm not trying to screw up, dude. Like give me a break. It's like that. So, yeah, I mean, you try to be respectful of kind of people's space and you kind of learn as you go throughout the season of how people are when they're out on the field and playing. Because at least for for a starting pitcher, I'm playing once every 6 days, right? So those other days, I'm just in the dugout, just kind of chilling, just kind of like, hey, giving some fist bumps, being a good teammate. So it's like you kind of learn who kind of needs their space and you learn who kind of like enjoys the like camaraderie, not camaraderie, but just like, BS and having a good time. Like that's just kind of their mindset. And
it's community. I mean, that sounds like it's what we do in Maria Steiner or Mercer County here. Like it was like some people need their space, but it sounds like that respect factor is a big part of the community.
Yeah, for sure.
So like obviously Scherzer, right? Like I saw that the other week, like just a complete psychopath on the mound. And I love it. Like in a good way, right? He's got that edge in a good way, but he's the nicest guy out there, I've heard. But for a guy that's bouncing around the league in a good way, right? You're moving up levels, which is a good thing, not bouncing team to team and trying to stay in the league. What's that look like trying to get, some mentorship from some of these guys where you might only be hanging out with a guy in AA for 6 months. Now you're in AAA and now you got to find a new group of guys to kind of resonate. And I'm sure some guys go up the ladder with you a little bit and you have teammates from AA, but from a mentor standpoint, especially for a young guy in the league, I know that's got to go a long way because Craig Stallman talked about it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it definitely helps. And it's like I said, with me, being a starting pitcher, you have those like 5-6 days where you're just in the dugout. And so it's cool to just kind of like talk shop, with the other starting pitchers, or even if a hitter has an off day, you can like just kind of pick his brain on like what he's seeing or what he's, thinking about when he's in the box or things like that. But yeah, it's, guys that have been there and that I've kind of created a, relationship with, they, give some feedback and can give you kind of some pointers and, and it doesn't have to necessarily just be about baseball. It can just be like, everyday life and the lifestyle that we're living, it doesn't even have to be, the game itself. So that part's really cool. You have teammates that you might spend the whole season with, and you create a great bond and a great friendship. And then there's other teammates that, it's just how, things are. It's like you might be with each other for a couple weeks and that's it. So it's like, it's kind of a crazy, crazy thing. People just people are coming and going and you just kind of got to know what works for you in a way. And you got to have kind of good, practices and standards and things that you have to stay on top of for yourself in a way, because it's great to give feedback. Like if I'm, one of my teammates were playing catch and he sees something like, hey, your ball's doing this, like in catch play or whatever. And that's, it's good feedback obviously. And it helps. But at the end of the day, it's like tomorrow I might have a different catch play partner. Next week I might have a different guy I'm throwing with, so.
Well, it doesn't change when you come home though. And that's what I love. I love this. I love that you're back.
Yeah.
Because like what we're trying to do while we're here is celebrate the community and talk about stories. And it's much of the reason you're here today. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people would be interested in knowing, and me sort of curious. I've never met you, but I've heard about you a lot around town. I mean,
hopefully good things.
Very good things.
Not a single good thing.
Yeah, no, actually, that's why you're here. We're going to prod about all the bad things. No, but even the Moose has like the jersey hung up, and I've heard nothing but good things when they talk about. I mean, the whole town sort of it cheers you on. And my question to you, I want to touch on it just a little bit again. Like when you come home, though, I know you feel like yourself because you're very rooted, and the community you grew up with gave you that rooting. But at the same time, does it feel exactly the same now, or does it feel different? I know you said you go with your buddies and your peer group's the same, but how does it feel in the community when you're out and about with the people that aren't changing from week to week?
Yeah, it's. Do you want me to answer?
No, just keep going.
Okay. No, it's funny. Yeah, it's kind of evolved. Like in high school, it was just like a lot of like, I don't know, the feeling of like, okay, like there's a lot of excitement. I'm close, I'm in the community, and then college, I'm still kind of here and in the community. And then it's like pro ball the last like 2 or 3 years. It's kind of funny because I'm so distant, like physically distant. So people don't really like, they're like, oh, you come back and they're like, oh, like where you at now? It's like, I'm not saying like they got to keep tabs on me. Like I'm not at all saying that. Like I don't care. It's not a big deal. I don't care. But it's funny how like it was, if it's in front of your face, you're seeing it and you remember it and you're curious and everything like that. And then, once you get into pro ball, like, and part of it too is like pro ball, minor league baseball is kind of confusing for everybody to kind of like understand, right? Like there's so many levels. There's levels, and it's like the affiliates are all over the place, and it's again not like bashing anybody for anything, obviously, but yeah, it's just funny because it's like it's evolved, and now it's like like people aren't really like reaching out to me or like texting me or just kind of like all this stuff, and again, I don't like need that or like live for that or anything. It's just kind of like how it is.
Just goes through levels.
Yeah, it just goes through levels.
As soon as you get in your first major league start, your phone's gonna ring. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I think
it's a confusing topic. For
it
people.
It is. No, and that's it's fine. I don't care. But it's just funny how it kind of evolved over time of like this kind of like they're like, oh wait, oh yeah, you're still playing. Like I'm like, yeah, we're working our way up. Like
it's a long season. To get
it is. It's a long season.
MLB.
I don't expect people to watch every game or see every start or anything like that. Like, there's a lot of games. So
no, you guys will listen right now and watch every start.
Except Gabe Archer. He texts me all the time. See Seth start last night?
Hey, podcast listeners, as the temperature drops here in Mercer County, there's no better place to warm up than the legendary Celina Moose Lodge 1473. Great people, cold drinks, and that warm small town atmosphere that makes every night feel like home. Whether you're stopping in after work, catching the game, or just looking for good company, you can always expect laughs, music, and memories waiting at the Moose. The Celina Moose Lodge, where community means something and everyone's welcome.
All right, so you got a big community around you, obviously, in Celina and things like that. And life's trending in a really good direction for you, obviously. But you've also been through some really tough chapters as well, including the loss of your brother. So how does something like that process, something that heavy to kind of continue through life, right? So I lost my dad at 18, right, when I was getting ready to play college baseball. So, in my identity, it was, I'm now going to play for him, right? Because like it was our goal. I know your dad's super involved in your baseball life. I've always seen him around the ballpark. But how did something like that probably help shape the trajectory of you as a person, not just a ball player?
Yeah. Many facets of life.
How old were you?
I think I was in 7th grade. Or no, I was in 6th grade. Yeah, 6th grade. Many, like, it's definitely shapes and molds you, in many different ways, and you grow up, quick. You have this perspective for life that it's short, so that's part of kind of like what we were talking about earlier, is just having these, relationships and connections with, guys that you might play the whole season with, or you might be with them for like a week or two, so like, my brother he was an athlete and played all kinds of sports, played football, basketball, like played everything. And, that kind of being taken away from him when he was younger, he got sick when he was, I think 12 or 13. And, he had some emergency amputations when he was younger, and then he, couldn't play sports anymore. And so, it's definitely, kept a very good perspective for me of life is short, and like this game and sports in general can be taken away from you very quick. And so that, taking that with me, through every facet of life. And when I'm on the field, it's, I try to remember that, this game can be taken away from you tomorrow. And so, it's definitely, a part of me lives, through him, and he definitely has made an impact on my life. And I want to do things obviously because I enjoy doing them, but part of me wants to like I know he would enjoy seeing me pitch on a major league baseball field one day, and it's just like keeping that in mind is really what keeps me going.
We got a lot of listeners here and thanks for sharing that, by the way. This is awesome. I like stories like this, not in the tragedy end, but because my next question really comes to, if somebody's listening to this right now who is going through a loss or grieving, right, new, recent, or in the past, you got any advice for somebody who's still trying to put it back together to try to keep moving forward? Anything that comes from the heart that you feel like you just want to get out there? Yeah,
I think it's definitely lean on your loved ones. Like stay close with your loved ones and your circle of family or community or friends or whatever it is that you have in life. I think it's lean on them and don't be afraid to ask for help or a conversation, or just shoot the shit. Like it's it helps, and time heals, and you'll never get that person back, obviously, but it's going to take time, and you definitely just have to stay kind of rooted with your community and your people. That's I think what we did as a family, and my parents did. They were really really good with me and really supported me, and After losing my brother, they said like life is too short and we're going to do whatever we can to help him, do whatever he's passionate about in life, and whether that was baseball or not, they would have done whatever to make ends meet or support me in every aspect.
I think that's a fun part of being a dad, though. You're a dad. I don't think you're a dad yet, right?
Not yet.
No, not that we know about, right? But,
Nope.
A couple different cities.
My fiance she's been waiting.
Okay.
Pressure's on.
Yeah.
Get it done, Seth. Come on. I'm on her side. No, but seriously, I think being a dad is the other side of that coin, right? You'll feel it eventually. You'll get there. But, my son's 8. You've got 2 kids around the same age. I coached him last year for the first time. He was 7U, right? So it was really fun to be able to spend that time on the ball diamond with him. Even at 7U, when you're trying to teach the right fielder where to line up, right? So, I think I'll look back at ages 7 through probably 12 more than I'll probably ever look at 12 through 18.
Yeah,
because how tied in you are to them. Like people always jokingly say, like once kids turn like 13, you've already spent 75% of the time that you'll spend with them, because after that, they fly the coop and you see them.
Wow.
If you think about how often you see your dad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was honestly, I forget what it was. I was thinking about this. It's like I've spent more time with some of my teammates in the last like 5-6 years than I have with my parents.
So it's one of those where it's like that early ages. Like, and I'll always remember Little League at like 8 to 12. It was the funnest times you'll ever have playing ball.
Yeah.
Like there's just carefree.
I loved it.
They get done. They run up and down the hill in between games. They get Gatorades and hot dogs, and it's like then you got to go play 2 more games, and it's like, so I always look at it, what you do have, not what you don't have, and that's what I look at from my dad from a death perspective. Unfortunately, is I had 18 years of my dad that most kids don't have, right? Like I could have had 0, I could have had 5, I could have had 10. Sure, I could have had 50,
right?
But 18 were pretty damn good years that I had with my dad. So I'd say the same thing. The question of the advice, that's appreciate what you have. Don't look at what you don't have. Yeah,
my dad would say the same thing. Like he reminisces on the days of throwing BP to me and having to ice his shoulder after like 20 rounds of BP to me and my buddies. But he would literally take those days tomorrow if he could.
And then you become a pitcher.
Switch it up. My question follows up on that because while we're here on this deeper subject, I have a question because I can be both sides of Mercer County. I sort of have left and I've come back. And so I can be critical of Mercer County because I'm your guy. I'm here to support you. But at the same time, I can also understand both sides. I love what you said about talking to your family. I think men's mental health, they don't do that.
Yeah.
They'll drink a beer and they'll ignore it. They won't look at therapy. They won't look at using their friends or ways to do that. So my message is always going to be, we need to do better as men here to celebrate that and to really push that out there. Even if I'm a catalyst and you can call me whatever name of the book, I don't care. It's a healthier alternative.
Yeah.
The other question that came to my mind, you are in a small town. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows that story. Whether they want to talk to you about it or not, you walk in the shadow of this loss because you're now on a pedestal, right? And so that's going to be part of your story, whether you use it as cannon fuel to just try to keep moving forward, or people are like, well, that's the guy that it's a definition. Is it hard to carry something like that, or easy to carry something like that in Mercer County for you?
I didn't really think it was I didn't think it was hard.
Good.
No, yeah. I think as I got older, like I think people really supported and like were just there in a positive manner for me, friends, family, everything like that. It wasn't really hard to kind of carry that with me. It was, obviously.
Did the community support you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Love that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just like it was the coolest thing, like at our high school games, in Celina, just like seeing just the crowd of people and just like my family from wherever, drove down or whatever it is. Like, it's just, I look back on that in the moment. I probably didn't appreciate it because I was, 15, 16, whatever. And I didn't have that kind of perspective yet, but looking back on it, I'm like, wow, that was sick. Like having that kind of, just energy and that kind of, camaraderie that we had, for my friends and I, playing and growing up. It was special. It was a lot of fun.
It's a special place.
Yeah.
Do you think those experiences changed how you approach people or even how you lead in a team environment now?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I like, minor league and professional baseball, college baseball too, like you meet all walks of life, right? And so everybody is coming from some part of the country, other countries, and you could have similar stories as mine, or whether, it might not be a brother, it might be a parent, it might be a sister, it might be, whatever. And it just, everybody handles those situations differently and responds to those situations differently. So, and some guys, they share those things, and then some of them don't. And so you just kind of like, you just kind of go with the flow and read the room a little bit. And that's just kind of that. And, for me, I have shared it with some of my teammates before and talked about it. And, it's one of those things that you kind of have to understand, like everybody's coming from a different part of, life, and with these kind of, I don't want to call them skeletons in the closet, but in a way it kind of is, like it's things that's happened, right? So yeah, having a perspective of that has been for sure.
You had mentioned that it sort of gives you a clean outlook on life, that you sort of appreciate the moment no matter what, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a bit of a baseball guy. Bill's an extreme baseball guy, but I still can tell you, even for listeners who are semi into baseball, you're sort of as a pitcher, your wins and losses. You might have your no decisions, but your wins and losses, and it sort of defines sometimes a good pitcher from a bad pitcher. When you lose or you have a bad outing, does something like that help you like get past that faster than some other pitchers? Because baseball's, mental game, from what I've learned from Bill, as much as it is a talent game. Yeah, no, you definitely have to, you got to kind of give yourself 24 hours to process it, and you can be frustrated and think back on what you could have done better, or whatever it was that went bad that day. And then it's, with baseball, it's like there's another one tomorrow. And so, you're going to have a bullpen in like 2 or 3 days, and you got to mentally like reset and think about, okay, like I need to work on this in that bullpen, or I need to work on that. Like, how old are you? 27. You got a sharp mind, Bill, right? I mean, dude, if I had what I had 27, just thinking about like all the things that I might even have been a little bit further ahead. I'm not saying it's bad, but man, that perspective is really strong. I can feel it here. It's just on to the next, but I can tell that you process it the right way. Yeah, it's because you can learn from each outing, you can learn from each inning, you can learn from each pitch, but you can't obsess over it, that it like keeps you up at night, because it can take over. And we've all like seen and heard stories of nightmare stories of guys like turning to alcohol and things going bad, or drugs, or whatever it is. And so you got to have something in place to kind of help get you through. And for me, it's my fiance and my family, and that's kind of what helps keep me have this perspective. And my parents have always told me too, it's like, we love you no matter what. Like, if, we're not this, like, if you make it, great. If not, like, we love you. Like, it's, same with my fiance. She's, she loves me and is there for me, not for what I do. And so understanding that and keeping that in mind, and we're all competitors, and we want to, compete and be at the highest level. And we want to do that as long as we can. So it's, it gets frustrating, and there's been some hard evenings and hard nights that I've had to, really try to take deep breaths and just like, all right, like gotta get ready for tomorrow. What's one thing you're working on? Because I know, look, a lot of ours trajectories in our stories we go through, and sort of we allude to the spot that you're in AAA ball and you're going to try to make a really good stab at the majors. A lot of people aren't going to do that here. What's one thing you're working on right now? Like, what do you challenge yourself every day that's like, that you are trying to get better at, that you're maybe a little bit weaker on? I think for me, so this is kind of, I'll go on like a little tangent here. At least, for me, this is going to sound very generalized, but it's consistency. At these higher levels as you go, like everybody kind of has some facets or tangents of their game that is big league caliber, right? So like we all, for the most part, I would say like have some aspects of our game that could play in the big leagues. It's just stringing it all together and being consistent as possible, at least for pitchers, right? And so commanding the strike zone, commanding 3 or 4 pitches, and putting the ball where you want to, is what separates basically a minor league or AAA guy from a big leaguer, right?
And so it's that consistency. It's for me, it's like commanding the strike zone with not only the fastball, but with the changeup and with the cutter and the other off-speed pitches and putting them where I want to. Because guys in the big leagues have kind of seen it all and done it all. So, like, there's not much you're going to show them that they haven't really seen or experienced in terms of, pitch types and pitch stuff, the way the ball moves and velocity and everything like that. And so it's, putting the ball where you want to with different pitches, adding velo, subtracting velo, pitching to your strengths or pitching to a hitter's weakness, all go into it and are all a factor. But I think for the most part, like, you could say this for most guys in the AAA level is building consistency.
What about consistency outside of baseball, though? Like, I mean, I think, like, you probably have your routine, right? I'm a baseball guy, I get it. So, you're day 3, you're doing this. Your day 4, you're doing this. I saw you doing the plyo balls when you were in high school. Like, I know you had that routine. What's it look like outside? Because, I mean, you look obviously physically fit, so I'm sure that routine is the same, but are you that consistent outside of baseball? Like, are you going to slump a little bit here in these 4 months, or are you going to be able to stay strict to it and stick to the plan?
I give myself one day out of the week to just kind of relax and live life, and whether that's on the nutrition side, the sleep side, or training side. Early on in the off season, I kind of give myself those days because I have, one, time, and two, it's not a rush to get back into certain shape, I guess, so to say. But yeah, so like going into being consistent, like, it's not just like having a good consistent catch play and putting together good bullpens and putting together good outings. It's having good nutrition, having good sleep. Kind of staying in touch with where your mindset is, on the day to day, and matching what you're thinking with what you're feeling when you're playing catch. Those all kind of go into it, and those aspects of being consistent. But yeah, like, for a sport that there's so many variables and there's like so many factors that are probably not going to go your way, right? Like the average hitter, a good hitter hits 300, right? So, most of the time, at least for, that's again speaking for hitters, but a lot of the times, like, the odds and the things that are going to go against you are going to probably like have a bigger impact. Like, I can think of many outings this year that I had, it came down to like 3 or 4 pitches that were like the outing, just took a turn, and it was like, gave up a hit. All right, there's a walk, backed up a slider or a cutter, and, it left it over the middle of the plate and got hit for a home run or something like that. And so there's all these factors that can go into that. So if you can build consistency outside of some of those variables that you can't necessarily control,
how do you do that, though?
It's going to help you.
Well, what do you do? Like, people do faith. Some people do meditation. Some people do exercise. Some people, and like you've talked about the consequential side of it. Mm-hmm. Some people turn to drugs. Some people turn to alcohol. Some people turn to mental head case, right?
Yeah.
Like, even myself, I try to get better every day at doing things that, and Bill's been an excellent resource for me, just slowing it down, understanding all your outcomes. For someone like yourself, people that are listening and trying to take something away from it, like, what do you do to stay mentally consistent? Like, how do you keep your mind in a position to go through those variables with ease? Because it's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah. Everybody's kind of looks a little different. At least for me, like, this is like applied to the game itself, but for me, I'm kind of writing down like thought processes for each pitch that day, just like what's on my mind, things that I'm like might be worried about or stressed about, just kind of like getting them out on paper kind of helps me, and just kind of getting them out of my head. But yeah, I mean, like, kind of just I kind of used to, and I still am. I kind of let things kind of like bound up and compound a little bit before I like press pause for a second and like realize like, oh, this is bugging me right now. Like, I need to address this, or this is kind of stressing me out. I need to address it. So like being more aware of like those things, that way I can go into the work day, when I go to the field and I'm not stressed about this or stressed about that or whatever it is, taking care of that thing or that thought or that idea like right away kind of just helps free me up for the rest of the day, basically.
What do you do, Bill? When you get into a problem that's like compounding, or you can recognize that maybe you're not at your even ebb and flow, like you're not even keel.
Yeah.
What do you do to process?
It's going to sound like a very manufacturing term. I just kind of Pareto out the reasons and the issues and just kind of attack what the problems are. So like I do a reverse, right? If I got to list out 6 problems that I've got going on in my life, I do the reverse. Like I used to run suicides in basketball. I didn't run to the free throw line first. I ran to the baseline on the far end first. Because like I feel like if I attack the biggest issue that I have, everything else looks a little easier. But if you're climbing that mountain and knocking off the easy ones, that last one kind of seems
Feels
daunting.
even harder, yeah.
So I kind of reverse it. So I say, what's the hardest thing I got going on in my life? I find it, I attack that, and then I work my way down. So what's the hardest issue I got going on in my life? Fix it, then go to number 5, then go to number 4, and I just kind of work it down. But I think the big thing that people fail at is they make too many excuses. Like I just genuinely think it's an easy scapegoat to make an excuse, and they don't. I've said it multiple times on this. The answers to your problems are probably a lot easier than what you're making them out to be, but you're making excuses make this small problem so much larger. Well, Seth only made it this far because he's left-handed and super athletic. Well, you could have done the same thing if you put in the work that guy put in nonstop, relentlessly, right? And there is, like I said, it's the baseball thing, right? There's some good bounces and there's some bad bounces. But that's life. And people don't want to accept things they can't control. So they want to make an excuse for something to kind of try to take it back in control. It's like, that's out of your control, man. Sorry.
That's a big thing I had to learn was control. I mean, control. And especially in something like a variable that you're working with where it could just be, I left it out by an inch. And, you know what I mean? Gone.
Sometimes it's even finer than that, you know?
But it's fascinating because it's like, it's not that dissimilar to anything else in life. It's just a different profession. It's just a different way to process emotions. And it's interesting that you say that, Bill, because I process mine similar because of you now. You've helped a lot in how I can compartmentalize and attack a problem. I used to attack it emotionally. Very emotionally charged, very emotionally driven, very put me into disarray in a certain way. And I've found that these podcasts and talking to young men like yourself and even Bill and these guests that come on, a lot of the pieces that I like to ask them are around that. Because I think most of the people listening aren't going to be a baseball player, right? Like they're not going to relate to, well, I wake up every day and I've got a 4-seam fastball and I jot it on paper and I make a beautiful motif of a curveball and it gives me the semblance I need to survive. I just like to hear how you tick.
Yeah. Would you say your guys' perspective of that has changed as you've done this like before, was it a little bit different? Like you started doing this
100%.
podcast?
I think
1,000%.
we've talked about it multiple times that it's week to week almost.
Yeah,
like there's just different unlocks by different guests, right? Like there's people we'll have on here that I would think I have no, I don't want to say no connection, but maybe not as strong as connection as we have.
Relate in a way.
After the episode.
Just kind of relate.
Like Kyle Godemiller was one of the ones where he's a farmer here locally, right? So, and Mitch brought him on. I had no idea who this guy was, right? I grew up working on a farm, so like I get it.
Yeah.
But he's just one of the, just the best dudes.
Yeah.
So like, it was literally just like, my takeaway from that episode was really just like, just be a really good damn person.
Yeah.
And like, life will take care of itself. And it's like, wow, man, like, it's a really simple philosophy. And like, I think I'm a good person, but the more that I just keep, like, I actually go out of my way now to try to be nicer.
Me too.
I used to like I drive a lot for work now, right? Like, so we buy multifamily apartment complexes and I'm going to those back and forth. I was in Toledo this morning and like, I used to have real bad road rage. Not like crazy, not going to run you off the road, but like a guy cuts you off and I'm like, wait, and I take that time and now I'm just like, I slow down. I'm like, come on, like scoot over for the semi just because like you don't know what people are like have going on in their life.
Yeah. Right.
So I almost picture like, you have the worst thing going on in your life, and I could set you over the edge.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you could do something really detrimental to yourself. And I'm not saying harm yourself, but you may make a rash decision, go crazy fast in a car, and then you wreck.
Make a bad decision,
I try to. I'm pretty emotionless as it is when it comes to decisions, but I've really tried to back it off to like, that guy's having a bad day.
Yeah.
Like I have a better day than him. Let him go. Let him do his thing.
Mine's always been internally. See, like externally, I've been always try to be nice and I like serving the public. Mine internally was how do I process emotions within myself? How do I slow down and really process and let it go and not think it's the end of the world, or not let it go beyond the small problem that's compounding. A lot of what Bill says too is like, it's an experience that I can relate to.
Yeah.
Mine was finding ways to make less excuses, to take advice, and to process. And truthfully, dude, you're 27. Your brain's still growing. Like you're still at an age where you have talent and you have a sharp brain and you've got a great family. Great. You have the foundations to give you now wisdom. And now wisdom in my 30s is something, as I turn 36, it just changes perspective. It's something like Bill said, completely irrational, but his brain's telling him, picture this person with the weird day. How would you treat him? Tom Burden came on here, talked about abundance and scarcity. Dude, that thing has stayed with me forever. Because if you have something scarce in your life, you're going to seek all these things to fill it. And for me, maybe it was like control issues, right? And I was trying to be controlling. And now, because I've sort of found abundance in confidence in myself and the ability to go through any problems, that I don't have that scarcity. And kind of like what Bill's saying, when you have abundance, people will gravitate toward it.
Yeah.
They'll find it, and back in the day, I used to chase money. And when I stopped chasing the money and I said to myself something similar to you, Bill, if I just walk around acting like somebody who has money, what would I do? I would be kind. I would be gratuitous. I would walk happily and taller and be confident.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if I start doing that, what's the difference if I have money or not?
Right. All those things are free.
Exactly.
One thing I do like, and I didn't mean to cut you off, I love when guests ask questions. That's a great question.
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
Yeah, no, I just, I'm sure like it's evolved, and it's happened with me with different conversations I've had with people and just hearing different perspectives and just listening to where people.
How's your
come
mindset
from.
changed from when you took the mound in high school to college to now AAA?
Oh, yeah.
What's to take us on that journey?
Yeah.
What did you do in high school versus what you do now? Were you always jotting stuff down? Did you?
No.
So tell me what you've changed. Give it to me.
Yeah, I thought like in high school,
You're the man.
there was not as much thinking, like there wasn't a lot thinking. I was, like just how it was. Like I was a big fish in a small pond, and I was able to just kind of like ride that, and I still worked hard because I had this perspective of, going and playing in different tournaments and things like that. Like there's other good baseball players out there. So like I need to work. And once I get to, college, like I need to take it a step further. And, so like when I, high school, it wasn't much thinking. Like I just would kind of go out there and do my thing and have fun and everything like that. And then college, like I kind of put a lot of pressure on myself because, okay, I'm in college. The draft is, a few years away. My draft year is a few years away. And so I'm thinking about that with like every decision I make and I'm like obsessing over it. And it wasn't like necessarily the healthiest thing for me to do just because I was getting so much more frustrated when things would go bad, and have these like high expectations for myself. And I still have high expectations, but it's like, how do you kind of balance everything out when things are, hitting the fan, right? And so it evolved from like in college then was just kind of this like, I almost thought I needed to pitch with like this like fire and this like rage, you know what I mean? Because I like was just putting everything I had into my craft and training and working hard. And I thought that's what I needed to carry over onto the field. And then now in like pro ball, it's actually like I need to be kind of pretty calm and have like a low heart rate because that's when I think and process like the best. And like I observe and see the situation, whether it's like the count that we're in, the pitches I just threw, what this guy did last at bat, what he might be thinking, like just things like that, where his hands are, where he's set up. Like, that's when I'm able to kind of like be a little bit more in the moment and present and like have that kind of back and forth feedback for myself of like, okay, I did this felt like this, I need to kind of change this, or I need to try and feel this. Like there's those thoughts now, whereas like in high school and college, it was just like pitch with just this fire and rage, like I said, and it wasn't productive for me, like more outings like I have gone through in pro ball, I've kind of discovered that it's like, okay, I actually need to be able to like, I need to be out here kind of like processing and thinking about some things because I've done all the work, building up to this outing. Now it's just go out there and showcase your work pretty much.
Joey Votto said it a lot, right? Like my preparation coming into this game was flawless. There's nothing else I could have done. And I hit 3 really good balls and I got fooled on one at bat. And I'm okay with that because my preparation was good. He wasn't driven by results. more
Yeah.
driven by preparation.
Yeah. No, I mean, like that resonates really, really well with there, because I just thought of that with like, okay, I can do everything right. I get the ground ball and it just finds a hole, or, we're shifted over or whatever. And it finds a gap and it's a base hit. It's like, okay, it was kind of a weak base hit. I did my job. Right. So like kind of getting yourself like, sure, the results at the end of the day, there's the stat line, of course, and everything like that. So like it's out there and you see it, but I had to kind of evolve in pro ball of kind of like distancing myself from the results and understanding my process, and like, it was the pitch executed. Did I get the ground ball? And if it was, it's like, okay, like I can live with it. Right. With the technology side of things, I think some guys handle that stuff and want to know that stuff differently than others. Some guys want to see it. Some guys can process it. And it is what it is. Other guys, like, they get pretty frustrated with it and they obsess over it, and it could carry over into the next at bat. And so that's where, like, again, the mental side of the game is, you got to be on cue, and you got to be really locked in with what's productive for you and what's not productive. And so for me, like, between innings and stuff like that, if a pitch was a ball or strike, I'd be, I'm kind of curious, but like, I'm not going to get frustrated or mad about it, because it's kind of over and done with. I got to go into the next inning and be in the headspace and to be ready for that next inning. But like bullpens, things like that, I will kind of check it every now and then and just kind of make sure things are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Or if I'm, just throwing a bullpen, I just want to know if a pitch was a ball or a strike, pretty much.
What does success mean to you, though? I mean, it's such a weird. I like the answer. I'm just saying, like, from that, you're like, you got to separate yourself from results. Like,
yeah,
that's a deep sentence that I like. But how does Seth Lonsway define success now?
Yeah,
what is it to you?
I think it's just limiting hard hits, getting ground balls, and
now off the field.
Oh, off the field. Oh,
yeah,
okay,
what is success? I mean, you're talking about I love the baseball. Believe me, I love the baseball.
Yeah. No,
we said earlier, having a kid, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I can't wait to be, a father. Like, I can't wait to be a husband and a father. I think that's, success in that facet, and helping and literally physically seeing something grow that's part of you. It's kind of mind blowing, but it's also like pretty exciting. You guys are dads, so like you can speak.
It's awesome.
Yeah, like I'm sure there's like so many cool moments that you're just like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna remember this forever. You know?
Your first blowout diaper, you will remember that one.
First poop. It's a weird thing.
Like my dad will bring up. It's funny. He'll bring up like the time I think I was in diapers, and we went to like I don't know if it was Disney World or amusement park, whatever it was. We were like, out doing stuff all day. And then we got down to the restaurant and sat down, and I like peed on my mom, like when I was a toddler, and she's like,
that's why we started this podcast, for stories like that, where Seth Lonsway can look back in 10 years when he's in the league and talk about how he's got a clip on the internet of peeing on his mom as a child. That's great.
Yeah. But it's just like things like that. Like he remembers that from 20 some years ago, and it's like, oh my gosh, like that's funny. I'm gonna be having those moments, hopefully soon.
I think it works the other way too. Like I really do. Like I think if you look back and you think of your childhood, like 7U baseball, you probably remember a tournament where you and your dad went out afterwards somewhere. It's just funny because like I look at it prospectively for both ways. Like I say, wow, this is pretty cool as a dad. I'm like, man, I remember when I was 8 and after games, we would go get ice cream. And I would always tell, like my dad would always say, like, it's results driven though. Like he did not celebrate losses very well, right? Like it was results driven, but it wasn't like a numbers game. It wasn't how many hits I got. Like, did you play good today? And he'd ask you. And I'd be like, yeah, I played good today. And it wouldn't have been like, oh, I had 2 hits or I struck out 2 or 3 times. It was like, did you have a good game today? And like that was my interpretation of if I had a good game.
Okay.
It could have been, yeah, I think I played really well. As a 7, 8, 9-year-old, it's probably because I had 3 hits. And I could have played really well with 0 hits, but he would have said, no, you hit the ball hard 3 times. It was just right at the shortstop.
Yeah, that's my dad was similar. He would, if you're going to make a mistake playing the game hard. Like make a mistake giving effort, like you're going to make mistakes, but do it with the most effort possible, right? Like, so... Yeah, and if you gave that effort, like if you gave a good effort, you had a good attitude about it, then that's a successful, day.
Yeah.
So
looking back at it, you committed to Ohio State, obviously. You went and played there. you load up the truck. I'm assuming your dad's probably got you helping moving you to Columbus. So you're getting there, moving in there. I'm not sure if you're at a house or dorms there, but what's it look like your first time leaving the city of Celina and going to a dream, right? A college baseball dream. What are your thoughts going into that?
Oh man, it was exciting. Super nervous. Like I think I was so nervous just about the kind of upcoming like just workload and like how I was going to balance everything. And I was super nervous about that, but you know what, like our coaching staff, our support staff at Ohio State, like they do a really good job of supporting you in the way that you need to be supported. So, I was an okay student. Like I was nothing crazy. And going there, I was very nervous about that. If I would be able to balance all this stuff. And that was kind of that was just kind of the biggest thing. And going into that first kind of fall and that semester was just really exciting. Like, getting to be a Buckeye and growing up in the state of Ohio. And, I was open, and listened through a lot of the recruiting process, and talked to some different schools. But once I visited Ohio State, it was hard to say no. You know what I mean?
What do you tell people that are scared to leave the city? Because there's a lot of people that don't move out because they're kind of nervous. Like big city, scary.
Yeah, I mean,
different virtues, more like it's a lot of assumption too. But like, what do you tell somebody who's on the cusp of going to a bigger city, like a college or something like that?
Well, I mean, it's not for everybody. Like I get if that's what you want to do, like do that. That's fine. I just think, you're kind of missing out and going to kind of always be wondering like, what if, I think, if you don't take that leap or take that step. And so I think for me, like it gave me a different, again, we're talking about perspectives, like so many perspectives of all kinds of walks of life on campus, all kinds of people from all over the country, other countries. I think it was just very eye-opening and gave me a really good, just perspective of it's not just this little part of the state that, like there's stuff outside of here too. And
you take 75.
But it's like you meet so many people that you keep in touch with down the road, right? And it's like, yeah, absolutely. I have my friends from here that I still keep in touch with, and we get together and things like that. But like, there's also just so many other awesome people out there that could have an impact on your life, and you might be inviting them to your wedding someday, or they might be coming to your kid's birthday someday.
You might be working on a food truck randomly together.
Yeah, it's crazy, like where life is going to take you, and that's like with this. In the baseball world, it happens so many times. You come across somebody who also knows, someone else that and like maybe they've never met. You know what I mean? Like they just happen to know someone who knows someone, and it could be again states away. It's like how the heck it's wild.
We talk about Bear on here all the time, right? So it's funny. You talk about that story, right? So I played college baseball at UNH with some guys, and basically the guy I went to high school with and my teammate, right? They both had high school buddies. They went to college and played at Otterbein together.
Oh, okay. So
we were at MD one time. I've never met this guy, right? He'd be like a friend of a friend. I've never met this guy. And he's at MD in Coldwater playing softball, and his nickname's Bear, Chad Webster. He listens religiously, so he'll love this.
That's awesome.
And he sees me out in like left field. And I don't know him really like that. And he starts like harassing me. He's drinking and stuff like that. In good fun, he's harassing me. I'm like, who hell is this guy out there? And I look and I'm like, that's fucking Chad Webster, Bear. And I was like, man, I was getting pissed off. Just some drunk guy out in left field yelling at me eventually. But it's cool you say that you just don't know who's out there that's going to cross paths. The Ray Cup, we jokingly talk about it. It's all guys that played college baseball with are friends of their friends. Right? So it's just, none of them are really local.
Right.
It's just us. And it's everybody else. So it's fun. But
that's cool.
Back to kind of like the small city, big city. Mm-hmm. What do you think it really means though to make it out, and you're still connected to the city? I think you passionately love Celina. Yeah. But what's it kind of mean to get out and breach that wall?
I think it looks different for everybody. It's kind of what you want out of it or what you get out of it in a way. Like you can go out and have an amazing time and meet amazing people and, just be impacted, and maybe that's what you want to do, or that's where you want to live, whatever it is. Like that's your new circle, whatever it is. And you might go out there and you might not find that, and you might still feel really strongly tied to whatever community you have here, or what, that's fine too. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think, like, I'm not saying you have to go out there and put yourself out there in different parts of the state, the country, the world, right? But, like, what do you want out of it? What do you want out of life? Are you just, if you want to stay in this little circle, that's fine, and that's all you know, and that's all you want to do, like, that's fine. But
it's interesting you say that, though, because I think there's a misconception with everybody in that question, and it was a great question, a great response. Making it out, I think you said it in so many words. It's just deciding what you want to do. I don't think you're making it out of proximity. If you want to stay, stay.
Yeah.
If you want to leave, leave. If
Yeah.
you want to leave and then come back and stay, great. That's what I did. Making it out, to me, is just making that decision.
Yeah.
Making it out of your own head that there's flip-floppiness.
Why did you? Can I ask, like, why did you leave and then come back?
So when I left, I was working with a bunch of influencers. Bear's going to get on me again. But I worked with a lot of big influencers, and we did a lot of really cool stuff.
Okay.
And then when I was getting divorced, I was looking at apartments around Columbus to stay there. But there was something, and I've since turned even more religious and started, like, let myself go spiritually and just, it's in your hands now, dude.
Yeah.
But something was calling me back here because of this great community, because of the community you talk about that bands together, that wants to help, that I knew I could lean in on healing through community. It was something that the mayor said that I loved it. Healing through community was something that I needed, but I didn't know I needed it.
I was gonna say, do you think you would have felt that if you left, like,
And stayed in Columbus?
Yeah.
No. It was lonely.
But I'm saying, while you were in Columbus, like, maybe if you never even went to Columbus, you wouldn't have felt that. Like, okay, I'm
Maybe
missing.
so. Maybe
I'm missing
so.
out on. You know what I mean? Like, I guess what I'm getting at is, like, sometimes it takes you being in a different environment to realize what you
Correct.
want or need or miss or whatever
Correct.
it is. You know what I mean?
It put me in a position to go be successful at a very high level. What it deprived from me was my faith, my sense of community. I had some good friends, but things that I really appreciate now were things that I couldn't really see the forest through the trees. So I think that's a very wise thing to say, and you yourself might go through that as you escalate through baseball, and even was it Adam LaRoche? Craig Stammen told a story about Adam LaRoche. They wouldn't even let his kid on the field. Well, then he quit baseball. Why?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I heard about
Because
that.
that was
yeah.
very important to him, because it was no longer about holding on to the tether of being a professional baseball player. It was about being a dad.
Yeah.
So the long answer to your question is, yeah, I think I'm back because I was supposed to be back, and I got a lot of skill sets from leaving that I think I can make a big impact on my community by giving them perspectives that they may not have otherwise had, and bringing in guests on this podcast that Bill and I can pick their brains from week to week in a sort of therapy session.
And the Willow.
And the
Willow brought him back.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be honest with you, we just did it for free cheeseburgers.
No free ads, Logan.
Let me round this back here, though.
Yeah.
So taking that all into consideration, what we just said, for the next kid from Mercer County who dreams about chasing something bigger, what's your honest advice for him?
Oh, man. I think whatever you're passionate about and whatever, you got to make things your own. Like, if it's a sport, if it's a career, if it's a, whatever it is in life, like, it has to be something that, really draws and fuels your fire, right? And if it does that, go do it, go chase it. There's always going to be this what if in the back of your mind. I think if you don't go and put yourself out there and try whatever it is you're passionate about. Again, it doesn't have to be sports, but I just think there's so many ways to kind of, whether it's hobbies, whether it's a job, whether, whatever it is in this life, that we have so many opportunities that we can do. I just don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself to the possibilities. Like, we've all kind of, I think, had perspectives of what, it must be so hard to do that, or it must be so hard to do this, or whatever it is. Like, when you're a teenager, like, you just might not have that kind of, is it attainable kind of feeling, and making that first step and taking that leap. I think you'll be surprised. Like, things are attainable. Again, it doesn't have to be sports.
One thing before you hit that button, because I know what you're coming up with next. You just seem like a really wise guy. Like you seem, I'm saying like you've been around psychologically and mentally. I feel like you're very well rounded. So my question is some of that might have been through baseball, but if your arm fell off and you never got where you got, what would you have done with your career?
Oh man,
Like, what was option B?
So it was funny. We talked about this during the season with some guys. I wish I had like 4 or 5 different lives I could live, because like one would be like I love the thought of, again, I wouldn't really know until I fully went into it if like that's what I wanted to do and try and be passionate about. I would like, one would be like maybe like welding and automotive, something like hands on. I'm kind of a busybody, like my fiance like has to force me to like sit on the couch and like actually watch TV in the evening.
Come on, babe, Love Is Blind's on.
Like
Trying to have a baby.
like I can't sit still, and I'm always like doing something or fixing something or whatever it is. I wish like something like that. I wish I could be like a professional hunter, and kind of do like the whole like, I've watched like YouTube videos growing up and like the Cameron Haynes, the guys like that. Like I'm like, oh man, that'd be cool to make kind of a career out of that. Yeah, it's like all these things I come across, and like I think I had like a time where I wanted to be a firefighter. What was the other? I think there was a fourth one that I was like thinking of that I can't remember what it was, but yeah, I don't know. I think like there's so many other things that I find interesting and hobbies and things like that. I'm like, man, what if I could do that? But I guess a long-winded answer, I don't know. Like I guess I don't know. Like,
well, the good news is you're 27 years old, and you've hopefully get into this very lucrative career where you'll have a lot of life left to choose to do whatever you are, buddy.
I'm also very passionate about like the strength and conditioning side of baseball and training in general. And it's something that like I got into college, and I feel like I sold myself short in a way. And I'm not saying I regret doing what I did. But I wish I would have not sold myself short on trying to get my degree in kinesiology. And that's something that I would eventually like to go back and do, because I, feel pretty strongly and really enjoy the, strength conditioning side of, again, sports kind of in general. But, I've had the opportunity to be around so many cool, very, very impactful strength conditioning coaches, trainers, everything like that from different facilities, different from our organization. And so I find myself paying, at least for me, like it seems like I pay more attention to like the detailed stuff of a lift or an exercise or things like that than maybe the next person. And so I'm like, I think this is probably something I need to like look into, And so I think that was it. Yeah,
You've got plenty of time in your life. Bill, can I push the button?
You're good now.
This part is the art of movement in a different way. This is the Two Dads game show, my friend. And every episode we end with a game show. My lawyers make me ask, hey, he's a AAA baseball player. He's incredible. Are you interested in playing the game show?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, I want to learn a little bit more about your wisdom, okay?
Okay.
This one's called College Confessions. A lot of people, you said, know you about your Ohio State career, right?
Yeah,
now you're in the minors. They're losing touch. They're like, what is he in the triple A, single A, double C, double D's? This one is called College Confessions. It's time for our favorite part of the show. Even though none of us are in college anymore, we're two dads just trying to keep up with what the younger generation's into, okay? And Seth, since you're the closest to that in the crowd,
I don't know how
more
good
so than we are, you're going to be our guide. Okay?
I don't know how good I'm going to be at this.
That's why we write the game shows, my friend. They're set up for failure. It's a beautiful thing. So I am interested in learning this new game show called College Confessions. I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock. Bill, you're going to hold us to this, okay? If you can throw that on, you can. Yeah, perfect. He's got the clock up there. You have 30 seconds. We're going to do 15 this or that's. And you're going to pick the one that today's college kids are choosing.
Oh, okay.
Do you feel confident in this? 1 to 10 confident.
I'm a few years out of touch, but maybe.
That's good.
I feel like
you're going to need to give 60 seconds because you're not going to be able to read 15 questions in 30 seconds.
Oh, I can get it. They're quick. 30 seconds on the clock.
All right.
You guys ready?
Here we go.
Bill, start us off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Energy drink or coffee?
Coffee.
Crocs or Jordans?
Jordans.
Netflix binge or TikTok scroll?
Netflix.
DoorDash or dining hall food?
Dining hall.
Wing night or pizza night?
Pizza night.
Staying in or going out?
Staying in.
Country music or rap?
Country music.
Snap streaks or be real?
I have neither of those.
Dr. Pepper or Mountain Dew?
Dr. Pepper.
Call your parents every week or text them when you need something?
Call them every week.
iPhone or Android?
5.
iPhone.
Hoodie weather or tank top season?
Hoodie weather.
Spring break
3.
trip or weekend with the boys?
Weekend with the boys.
Group project or solo work?
Solo
1.
work.
Gym pump or nap time?
Nap time.
All right, that's all the time we have, and I did not make it, but Bill Ray is such a good sport over there. Thank you, Bill Ray, for being here. Seth Lonsway, thank you as well. Anything to say before we go, boys? That was a fun one.
No, I
great.
appreciate you coming on here. Appreciate you coming back to the area, and look forward to your summer of success on the upcoming season.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Hey, how'd you feel? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was great. No, thank you guys. I love what you're doing. This is, awesome to like get in touch, with the community and again, just hear everybody's perspective from the community. It's awesome.
Excited to see where you go, Seth Lonsway. That's episode 39, the Two Dads Podcast. We'll see you next week.